This is Joy News Prime. Our headlines this hour. More bloodshed in the Ashanti region as another accident claims the lives of 2 people, bringing the death toll of road crashes in the last 3 days to 28. We'll bring you details as police arrest driver of the abandoned tipper truck that led to the death of the 2 in Tafo Pankron on Wednesday.
How much there 2 o'clock? The dozen it is a bit power.
We heard the bang at dawn. When we got here, the minibus had crashed into the truck. The driver and another woman were dead.
Also, as members of parliament express worry about the rising cost of construction materials, particularly cement, we'll hear from some Ghanaians who have joined calls for a reduction to prevent a ripple effect.
Of course, it affects me because I'm building, and anytime I'm going to buy cement, the price is quite different. It increased.
Nobody is above the law. Civil society actors back the Inspector General of Police's new leadership style and urges him to continue with what they say is the new wave of policing since he took off.
Police have powers of arrest, and those powers are well circumscribed and prescribed in law. And we think that we all must cooperate with that process.
And coming up in business,
the Bank of Ghana engages international currency technology firm on the issuance of a digital currency.
Subsequently, Messrs. Jeseki and Devriet Currency Technology has been engaged as the technology solution provider to provide the bank to pilot the issuance of the digital currency.
And coming up later in the bulletin, the story of the all-girls group that has gained social media attention for their display at weddings and other parties.
Your money, yes, Ronko Papa, wedding, your program will be different from the rest, from all the wedding, because how we will do, how we have been doing.
Stay tuned for the secret below news. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fandofa studios at Tukumlemle here in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 144, and DTT because we are free to air. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Stay tuned in. Hello again, many thanks for joining us. The Tafo Pankron police have arrested the driver of a tipper truck who allegedly left a faulty vehicle by the roadside, leading to the accident that claimed 2 lives. Yusuf Shaibu, who works for Kofi Job Construction Limited, abandoned the truck on the Tafo Pankron stretch. A Kumasi-bound Sanyon mini commercial bus from Atebubu crashed into it, killing the driver and the 50-year-old trader on board. Some residents, incensed by the failure to tow the faulty vehicle to safety, charged on the tipper truck, smashing its windscreen. Lava Firm's Erastus Asaridonko has more.
This is the killer truck. On Tuesday, residents say it was left on the Tafo Pankron stretch, obstructing traffic for hours.
30 to 6. Let me film my phone.
The truck was parked here. A tricycle nearly crashed into it. Everyone here said this truck could cause an accident because there was no warning triangle behind the vehicle and it caused a lot of traffic.
The authorities did not move the truck from this place. Now there's been an accident. The truck has been moved. This is unfair.
At dawn on Wednesday, a speeding Sanyon minibus with registration AS 333215 crashed into the rear of the stationary truck, killing its 2 occupants instantly.
How much there 2 o'clock? The dozen it is a bit power.
We heard the bang at dawn. When we got here, the minibus had crashed into the truck. The driver and another woman were dead.
The dead have been identified as Joyce Kunedu, a 50-year-old trader, and 34-year-old driver of the vehicle, Bashiru Abubakar. Some enraged residents of Tafo vented their spleen on the tipper truck, smashing its windscreen. Police say the driver of the truck has been arrested to assist in investigations. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Tafo Pankrono, Kumasi.
Very sad incident there, but we've had 3 major accidents from the beginning of this month. Here's a breakdown of the figures we've recorded from the Ashanti region this week alone, and this is midweek. And so we have a total of 28 persons killed in the 3 accidents from Monday till today, a total of 35 persons injured from the 3 accidents. So for the Offenso Abofo accident, which was November 1, 2021, we had the death toll 20. That was the biggest we saw from the 1st of November. In that accident, we had 13 people sustaining various degrees of injury. And then we had the Akumadan accident the next day, November 2, 2021. The death toll in there 6, and then we had injuries 22. This was initially 3. When some of the injured persons were taken to the hospital, they lost their lives, bringing the number to 6 now. And for the Tafo Pankrono accident, which we brought to you a while ago, 2 people dead in that accident so far. That is the data that we've picked up for you. For the month of November alone, 28 people have died and 35 people sustaining injuries. We are learning of another accident that happened about 2 hours ago involving an ambulance. Love News sources say the driver sustained a minor injury. It's, however, not clear how many were involved in the accident, but the ambulance was carrying a patient from Obuasi to the Konfuanoche Teaching Hospital. We stay in the Ashanti region, and residents of Amansia South District say they are paying more for transportation due to the deplorable roads there. Commercial motorcycles, which are the main means of transport, are charging twice the original fares to cater for their high maintenance cost. Protesting residents lamented the increasing robbery cases along the major roads. Nana Ojima joined a protest march on the poor conditions of road there, and here's his report.
The Amansia South District is rich in gold, timber and cocoa. Despite the resources, roads within the district are deplorable. The major roads are bumpy and dusty, making internal travels difficult. Residents on Wednesday staged a demonstration in demand of better roads.
We are swallowing, being bathed in dust. We are eating dust. We are bathing in dust, which is so appalling. So we need the government to come to our aid and construct the road for us.
How much? What is the cost of just 38-kilometer road of bitumen surfacing? I mean, how much is it? If truly the government truly wants to know, if truly the government wants to succeed or wants to at least make progress in the next elections, it should at least show some respect.
And the robbing is also going on because of the nature of the road, and that's the reason why people are having that opportunity to rob our district. For example, the last time somebody was being robbed, a blue van, and one person was shot dead. Could you imagine if the road was being tied? How is it right? It can even go faster than what happened that. So
the poor roads, coupled with increasing highway robberies, has compelled commercial. Here are some of the operators of the business.
And so, the problem no. And sanity.
No, I'm on motor, motor, no crowd black. Of Nipa Yalis, no fan of doctor, town bedroom crana, no huchron. So, Pacha say, I buy Bebuana on your baby.
Drivers are also worried about the situation. The demonstration staged by the youth of Amansia South has received massive endorsement from some traditional leaders. Otunfo Irompehima, Nana Abnatebua is one of them.
Ye kwa yaresabia ye kwa enko ye wonsuo bi da ho ye friend subini eda agrosum eni mem.
It is very difficult to seek health care from nearby Agroyesum. During the rainy season, I have to use a motorcycle to cross the flood water before getting to the hospital. I sometimes refuse to go, and it's worrying.
Etienne me nsanko na masa betena ha na medura makotuto nuro say dre say ye papa say nye papa eno ana menom.
This is where the demonstration ended, the Amansia South District Assembly, and the people, or the demonstrators, not long ago presented a petition to the assembly demanding the roads to be fixed. Police presence was heavy on the ground. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Amansia South District.
And police have formally filed charges including causing damage to public property against Francis Xavier Sosu in court over a demonstration he led in his constituency in Medina. The embattled MP is supposed to show up in court to answer the charges on November 8. Parliament has in the last couple of weeks disagreed with the police over its quest to arrest the legislator. Director General of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Fori, has been given an update on the matter on the sidelines of a meeting with civil society organizations. There's more in the following report.
The meeting was to offer the police administration an opportunity to discuss issues of concern with the civil society organizations. Alhaji Ibrahim Tanko, Executive Director of Star Ghana, enumerated some of these concerns.
We raised issues around how public protests are handled generally and the need for action, to ensure that we improve and we strengthen the ways of handling public protests in ways that are consistent with the democratic context in which we live and work. We also raised issues around the involvement of the military in what usually are considered as policing activities that should be confined to the police. And some of the concerns raised around the involvement of the military also deal with the fact that maybe the SOPs are different and in most situations give birth to situations that we think are not the best. So we called on the IGP at that time to build the capacity of the police to deploy tactics and actions consistent with democratic policing. We suggested that they should look at ways of improving improving the way the police and military work together.
ACP Kwesi Fori says the police was committed to addressing their concerns.
In today's meeting, we will enlist public support for our activities and matters regarding some gray areas were mutually discussed. And at the end of it all, we hope to get a type of policeman or woman that will service people, that will commit his or herself to the aspiration of our people, working against crime and creating desirable security in our communities and our country.
A major issue that has dominated the headlines in a couple of days relates to the arrest of Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu. ACP Kwesi Fori gave the latest update.
The latest is that the police have obtained criminal summons and have been duly served for him to appear in court on the 8th of November.
What are the charges against him?
As we enumerated, obstructing public highway, causing damage, among other things.
In terms of your men who are supposed to appear before Parliament, what generally does the police think about that particular invitation? And secondly, there's a
the invitation has officially not come to the attention of the administration. But when that comes, the administration may take a firm decision.
Parliament is raising issues about how they are going about the arrest of the MP. this afternoon they've issued a statement saying that they don't think you are using the right procedure.
The future might determine that.
The CSOs are urging the police to go all out and do their work without any fear or favor. Kofi Bentley, Senior Vice President of Imani Africa.
Only the president of this country has immunity. That is number one. Parliamentary immunity was not invented by Ghana or Ghanaians. It is not our constitution that started that tradition. It came from United Kingdom and has a long history. Basically, it is about protecting Parliament from the sovereign king. In this country today, we don't have a king. The sovereign is the people. So there is nobody to protect Parliament from. That parliamentary immunity is a very narrow immunity for the performance of parliamentary duties. It cannot be reasonably said that a person 24/7, 7 days a week is always performing parliamentary duty. So that fundamental issue should be made clear. Number two, the police have powers of arrest, and those powers are well circumscribed and prescribed in law. And we think that we all must cooperate with that process. However, if there is some sort of confusion about the interpretation of Article 117, which is not a confusion that many of us see, the right place to go is the Supreme Court.
But the spokesperson of the Medina MP, Bansu Abdul Hamid, says Francis Xavier Sosu has not been served. This is John News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. Now, members of Parliament are asking the judiciary to ensure strict adherence to the laid-down procedures of Parliament following charges brought against the Medina MP, Francis Xavier Sosu. The police service Wednesday officially filed a court case charging the MP with offence of the destruction of public property after a protest against bad roads in his constituency. Now, on the back of that case, which will be playing out in court on November 8th, some of Mr. Sosu's colleague MPs have been reacting to the latest developments. Some of them describe the charges as far-fetched. Also, the Speaker issued a statement accusing the police of undermining his powers. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson captures the latest happenings and reactions in the following report.
The Speaker of Parliament, in a statement, fumed with rage over attempt by the police service to flout his earlier directive and arrest the MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, even before the Privileges Committee begins its probe into the contempt case against two senior police officers. Portions of the statement read, "It is important to note that, despite the pendency of the contempt complaint by the member and the referral to the Committee of Privileges by the Right Honourable Speaker, the police service decided to proceed with their decision to attempt to arrest the member. This is a clear violation of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution and gross disrespect to the Right Honourable Speaker and Parliament. The police service, instead of engaging the Right Honourable Speaker and the leadership of the House, surreptitiously attempted to arrest the Member of Parliament on Sunday, 1st November 2021, in church, where he fellowships. The Speaker acknowledges that members of Parliament are not above the law. The issue is not that a Member of Parliament cannot be investigated or arrested. The issue is the procedure to follow to investigate or arrest a Member of Parliament. The statement goes on to say the privileges and immunities of Parliament, the Speaker and members of Parliament and the clerk exist to guarantee the independence of the House and ensure that the legislature is able to undertake its constitutional duties without unnecessary encumbrances and constraints. The statement concludes by saying these recent events should not be understood as an attack on a single member of Parliament, but an attack on Parliament as an institution and the democracy of Ghana as a whole. Shortly after that, it emerged that the police has officially charged Francis Xavier Sosu. Some of the MPs who reacted to the development want the court to ensure full compliance of the parliamentary procedures in their attempt to file the criminal summons against the MP. Here is MP for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiemekbo.
If they are of the strong conviction that Sosu has committed a crime, they've gone ahead to issue a criminal summons. Criminal summons is the processes that will detail the charges that have been leveled against the accused person, the brief facts in support. It's a court process that you file. So they've gone to file it with the court. So where we stand, if that is the procedure, then it is the registrar of the court who will take steps through the bailiff to now serve that process on Honorable Susu. And in serving this process, recourse will have to be had to Article 117 of the Constitution. There's a procedure outlined there in serving a criminal or a civil process on a member of parliament. If the police, now it's not the police, if the courts proceed on that and Susu is served, he will take the necessary steps to defend himself competently in this matter. He can either appear pro se, that's for himself, or he will go with a lawyer of his choosing to go and defend him. And I have absolute belief in his ability to defend himself.
Member of Parliament for Impriority constituency, David Opoku-Ansah, in his view, argued that the charges are far-fetched.
And I have maintained somebody who has held several demonstrations as a member of the Alliance for Accountable Governance. I think that demonstrating is a form of easing tension in society. I mean, sometimes you cannot control the demonstrators, but to hold the member of parliament responsible for certain damages, I think it's far-fetched. Yes, we all must be responsible as parliamentarians. We all must be responsible as citizens. But the person who bend the ties must be held responsible, and not Susu. Unless the police is able to establish that Susu took part in the exercise, unless the police is able to establish that Susu contributed in any form or shape to the gentleman taking that action. Other than that, I don't see this matter traveling that far.
The one-time executive secretary to the former IGP, Asante Apiachu, and MP for Wa West, Peter Tiobu, also wants the police and parliament to identify ways of ironing out whatever differences that may have arisen. He, however, adds that the budgetary allocation to the police service might be blocked if the stalemate lingers on.
The police and parliament cannot compete over who is superior. The police and parliament must complement each other's effort to build the country Ghana. If you think that you can charge him and fly it on social media or publish it for people to see that the MP has been charged and for that matter he should appear before court, the MP is not going to appear before court until he's released by the Speaker of Parliament. Let's not, I will stress on this, let's not bastardize the police, let's not destroy the relationship between the police and Parliament. I mean, if you do all this and you bring your budget here, to be passed, which MP is going to sit down and look at your budget? It will be thrown out. Are we competing for superiority? No.
For Joy News, I'm Kwesi Parker Wilson.
From Parliament, let's return to road crashes. And the National Road Safety Authority is investigating 2 crashes at Obofor and Akumadan in the Ashanti region, which have claimed 26 lives in 2 days. The death toll in Monday's road accident at Obofor has reached 20 as 3 more children on admission have died. There's more in this report.
On Monday, 17 people, including 10 children, died in a fatal accident involving a Mercedes Sprinter bus and an articulated truck in the Obofor forest in the Ashanti region. The offensive MTTD commander, DSP Edmond Nyamiche, confirmed the death of 3 more children, bringing the death toll to 20.
17 died on the spot, and then 16 were injured. But they were all rushed to the hospital. But unfortunately, yesterday and today, 3 of the victims also passed on, making 20.
Preliminary investigations indicate the driver of the articulated truck was dozing and veered off his lane, leading to the head-on collision with a Sprinter bus. DSP Nyamiche says the necessary action will be taken when the driver recovers.
A preliminary investigation revealed that the articulated driver, in fact, as a result of fatigue, drove carelessly. That brought about the accident. So we are monitoring his recovery. Then we can, in fact, charge him appropriately to court.
On Tuesday, a Kumasi-bound bus collided head-on with a Kia towing vehicle at a police checkpoint at Akumadan. The bus caught fire, burning 6 people beyond recognition. Akumadan District Police Commander DSP Joseph Jesse Ajimang says the driver has reported himself to the police for investigations to begin.
My divisional commander called me that the driver reported and he caused his arrest. And then he was detained. So this morning, my crime officer sent a team to Ahinkro and they brought him. We have just finished taking statement from him that you called, but he was also complaining bodily pains. So I have directed that the investigator should escort him to the hospital for him also to be taken care of.
As a policy, wherever 5 or more deaths occur in a road crash, the National Road Safety Authority dispatches an investigation team to ascertain the cause of the accident. Director General of the authority, May Obrieboa, says the investigation is to help fashion out policies to prevent future occurrence of such crashes.
So far, I think that for the 2 crashes, about 26 deaths, and we think that we cannot sit down unconcerned. Some of these investigations that we have done have helped us in some advocacy. For some years now, the authority has been advocating for dual carriages on our major roads because some of the investigations that came out, the results or the recommendations had been that some of these could have been prevented, or these crashes could have been prevented if we had dual carriages or multiple lane roads. If it's training, we will insist that they do training for their drivers and also ensure that anything that they have to do to prevent future occurrence, it is done.
A report by Solomon Oforiamanfo.
And still to come here on Joy News Prime, as members of parliament express worry about the rising cost of construction materials, particularly cement prices, we'll hear from Ghanaians who have joined calls for a reduction to prevent a ripple effect.
It affects me because I'm building, and anytime I'm going to buy cement, the price is quite different. It increased.
And coming up in business, Bank of Ghana engages international currency technology firm on the issuance of a digital currency.
Subsequently, Messrs. Jesaki and Devrient Currency Technology has been engaged as the technology solution provider to provide the bank to pilot the issuance of the digital currency.
And later in the bulletin, the story of the all-girls group that has gained social media attention for their displays at weddings and other parties.
Your money, yes, Ronko Papa, wedding, your program will be different from the rest, from all the wedding, because how we will do, no, how we have been doing our thing, just invite us.
And welcome to business. The Bank of Ghana has engaged an international digital technology firm, Jesaki and Devrient, to work on the pilot of a digital currency which will officially be introduced next year. The US-based firm will be responsible for the issuance and security of this currency through a sandbox system to be regulated by the central bank. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, disclosed this at the ongoing that just ended Standard Chartered Bank Digital Banking Innovation and FinTech Festival in Accra.
According to the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, the regulator is making efforts to make the digital financial ecosystem safer and sound for all. He hinted that JSEC and Devrient Currency Technology has been engaged as technology provider for the issuance of the ECD.
More recently, the bank has also taken steps to explore a central bank digital currency within the framework of the Financial Digitization Program. Subsequently, Messrs. Jesaki and Devrient Currency Technology has been engaged as the technology solution provider to provide the bank to pilot the issuance of the digital currency. This project presents a unique opportunity to design a technological representation of a fiat currency that will drive the financial sector digitization further and also facilitate the government's inclusive digital transformation program.
Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, in a keynote speech, applauded Standard Chartered Bank Ghana PLC for the innovative product since its establishment in Ghana and the role it plays in expanding the country's financial services sector.
The chronicle of Ghana's economic history would not be complete without mention of Standard Chartered as a result of the significant contribution to almost every facet of the economy. This is a testament to your brand promise, here for good. You have put your capital behind opportunities such as providing long-term financing for infrastructure development, providing sovereign solutions, and more recently, providing financing for sustainable development goals.
Managing Director of Standard Chartered Bank, Mansa Nete, said the bank is in the process of increasing its support for small-scale women-led businesses.
Our lending activities supported about 122,000 jobs in the Ghanaian economy, while directly and indirectly providing opportunities for us to expand our impact by collaborating with clients on inclusion, diversity, and environmental protection. Through our myriad of healthcare, education, and business efficiency-related social intervention programs, we continue to support the empowerment of Ghanaian youth, women, and visually impaired.
The Standard Chartered Bank Digital Banking, Innovation and FinTech Festival is part of its 125th anniversary since its operations began in Ghana.
Meanwhile, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has assured that the concern of low tax to GDP ratio in the country will be addressed with the use of technology and digital innovations.
Digital technologies are a chance at becoming a dynamic and competitive and prosperous economy. As such, we must work together to see all the remaining barriers of technology access removed. Overall, government and the private sector each have a responsibility to ensure that Ghana is equipped to succeed in this digital age. We launched the Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement Initiative to reduce tax non-compliance and revenue leakages this year. As you know, our tax revenue to GDP is somewhere around 4%, 14%. The EU's is about 34%. So if you look at GRA's collections of, let's say, 60 billion, you can imagine tripling that will bring us to 180 billion, which will certainly solve a lot of our problems. So we thank the Vice President, paperless port, national ID, digital property addresses, and the most vexing issue is commitment to tackle the lands records digitization and also property taxes as we go into the years ahead. We expect in these, I think instructively, we have used Ghanaian fintech entrepreneurs to get these apps and all done.
That'll be it for business. We have sports coming up. Do stay.
Many thanks for staying with us. I'm Hans Mensah, and the time to bring you sports here on Joy News Prime. Newly elected president of the Africa Paralympic Committee, Samson Dean, says his victory at the Africa Paralympic Committee General Assembly in Rabat will be a big boost for para sport in Ghana. He made this comment upon arrival at the Kotoka International Airport on Wednesday. Joy Sports, Haruna Mubarak has more.
On October 31, history was made as Samson Dean became the first Ghanaian to have risen to the level of managing parasports on the continental stage. He attained the position by securing 24 of the total 41 votes, taking over from Angolan Lionel Darocha Pinto, who has been at the helm for 13 years.
This is the kind of leadership we need in Ghana. Leadership that will focus on good things for the country. My promise and assurances to Africans are clear. As I said in front of delegates, I told them a vote for Samson Dean is a vote for leadership. I am born to lead, and I have examples to prove. They know what I can do. In fact, at Congress, they attest to the fact that all motions that I supported won, because we knew that we needed those changes in our constitution and in our Paralympic movement in Africa. You need to study the terrain and understand what really is the message. Our message won.
Dean's arrival in Ghana on Wednesday at the Kotoka International Airport was met by a rapturous reception. He was received by the Ghana Olympic Committee President Benunu Mensah, Ghana Athletics CEO Bawa Fuseni, and Deputy Director of the National Sports Authority Majid Bawa. Ghana is aiming to become the first country to host the African Games alongside an African Para Games in 2023, and Dean's election is viewed as a huge boost to achieving that.
Our newly appointed Spurs boss Antonio Conte has vowed to bring consistency to the club by playing attractive football and says it is an honor to be the club's new head coach. Conte signed an 18-month contract with an option to extend and replace Nuno Espirito Santo following successful talks with Tottenham hierarchy in London on Monday. Well, that's it for sports, and we'll bring you more sports later in the bulletin. But still to come here on Joy News Prime, the story of the all-girls group that has gained social media attention for their displays at weddings and other parties.
Your money, yes, Ronko Papa, already your program will be different from the rest, from all the wedding, because how we will do, no, how we have been doing our thing. Just invite us.
And the ever bubbly and beautiful, honorable Karen Yale.
You learned fast.
Yeah.
You learned fast. I like
I'm a good
that.
student.
That's
Yeah.
right.
What do you have for us today?
Okay, so we'll begin with Mickey Osebeko, veteran actor Mickey Osebeko.
Master Richard.
Of course, most of our viewers will exactly
yeah.
from Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with him, and we spoke at length on a number of issues. But one of the things I sought to get his opinion on was, you know, the predicament of his colleague actor, of course, from Taxi Driver, Sam Ajetefio.
Yeah.
As you will recall, a few weeks ago, we saw in an interview he had, we saw him soliciting for funds to pay his rent. And the vice president of our land was, you know, kind enough to extend a helping hand. I remember he donated, I think, 50,000 Ghana cedis, and 30 was for his rent, 20 was for his upkeep. And then, after some few, you know, weeks, we saw him again soliciting for funds for his electricity bills. And that got him a lot of, you know, lambasting from
backlash.
You know, Ghanaians. But like I said, I had a conversation with Master Richard, and he has been sharing his opinion on that.
I think that many of us are going through that, but not speaking about it, because we are living in an industry that has no policies to guarantee even the pensions of some of the stakeholders. And, you know, the industry is not well catered for in terms of policy to benefit the stakeholders and players around it. So eventually people will get into these situations. His is not an isolation. There are a lot of other colleague actors, senior actors who are going through the same situation. So I wouldn't want to...
Are you going through such a situation?
Oh, I wouldn't say so, but the system is in a way that most people would have to go through that situation. I don't only work as an actor. I direct, I produce, and I do many other things apart from acting. But if you talk about how much acting can earn one a living in this country, it's nothing to write home about. If actors are not given jobs, and for me, if I go to buy a product and the product owner makes profit and buys advertising space on a TV station, and the TV station gives the money to a Mexican actor or an Indian actor, would you blame TT for his predicament? Yes, so we need to do the work from the top. Probably what is happening to TT is that he can't hold it to himself. You understand? But what I am saying is that there are many celebrities, old actors, legendary actors, singers, musicians who are going through worse situations, and they are not saying anything about it. So we need to find a holistic solution to that, because TTs is just one of the many issues that people from that area of the industry are facing.
Anyway, if you need a taxi, I day here 24 hours a day.
And now it's his popular outro. Yeah. So let's move away from that and also talk about Shatawale, the man of the month of September, or October, I should say.
October it was, yeah.
Right, so I had a conversation with him as well. And you know, for months, in fact, from last year, late last year, he's been telling us about releasing his latest Gift of God album.
Yeah.
And so, as fans, we all expected him to release it mid this year. But we're already ending the year, and we still haven't seen the Gift of God album. So I asked him about it, like, what's really keeping this album? Well, listen.
Well, you know, GOG album is an album that is on my heart, and I believe people should just wait for what is going to come, because I want to just bring the album out like God. You know, I don't want to tell anybody when I'm going to release the album anymore. Cause
why? What is keeping the album from coming out?
Well, what is keeping the album?
Are you pulling a Kanye West stunt on us?
Yeah, what I'm really doing is, you know, putting a good marketing strategy up, you know, so I can get like the album to the world, you know, because this time I believe we've done everything we have to do in Ghana. We've done certain things we have to do in Africa. Now I believe we have to go to the world. So that's what is keeping me from bringing the album out. But it's going to come out. Like, it's going to be solid. And yeah, we have great people on there. I won't lie to you, though.
So lastly, okay, great people? Like who? Give me a teaser.
like Joy News.
Oh yeah, I'm on that album. I'm on that album.
Right, so
you should watch
all.
out. Thank you very much, Noella, for bringing us the
Right.
latest in the world of showbiz. Thanks for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. Members of Parliament have expressed worry about the rising cost of construction materials, particularly cement prices. According to the MPs, it will be important for government to immediately take steps to stabilize the price of cement and other building materials. Delivering a statement on the floor of the House, Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy constituency, Yusuf Suleimana, bemoaned what he described as the unbearable prices which is affecting individuals and businesses. He wants some taxes and levies on these materials removed.
The cost of cement forms a very important component of construction. Indeed, my research reveals that, as a rule of thumb, cement constitutes about 16% of total construction costs. What this means is that changes in cement prices impact construction and people directly. Mr. Speaker, the impact of extreme cement price increases on the construction industry, the state and individuals is unbearable and profound. Specifically, for contractors with ongoing projects, this immediately affects project costs. For instance, in 2019, the President called for the construction of the military housing project at a cost of $100 million US. At that time, cement was selling at a cost of about 32 Ghana cedi per bag. Today, at over 50 Ghana cedi per bag, the cost of this project will automatically go up by an extra $100 million US in the list.
Commenting on the statement, Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Kweku Kwatin Ajiman, attributed the rise in costs partly to COVID-19, which has led to higher freight charges. He noted the issue is before his committee and the report will soon be presented to the plenary. However, Mr. Kwatin says he will not support any call to remove taxes from these products.
It is true that COVID-19 has increased especially freight costs. So any items you are importing into this country now attract higher freight charges. That, from our preliminary observation, is largely responsible, not wholly, but partially responsible for the rise in some of the building products we see on the market. But Mr. Speaker, the problem with the suggestion by our honorable member that the solution lies in government taking off some taxes and some levies in order to get the cost of those imported items go down, in my respectful opinion, is insensitive. It's insensitive to the economy. Mr. Speaker, when I say so, I mean that we have just come from the year 2020, in which the revenue shortfall was some 14 billion Ghana cedis. Then again, COVID-19 required that government found money to finance unplanned expenditures, such as the creation of isolation centers, such as the provision of relief for frontline workers, such as for vaccines, such as for all the things government needed to do to protect the lives of our people.
On his part, the Member of Parliament for Whole West, Emmanuel Kwesi Bejira, said the prices of building materials have become so unbearable for the general public.
It is true that COVID-19 has increased, especially freight cost. So any items you are importing into
Apologies there, we'll bring you that insect in our subsequent bulletins, but we have been speaking to some members of the general public who say the rising cost of building materials must be curtailed immediately.
The implementation of cement has caused a lot of problems in this country. A lot of people are suffering due to the increase of the cement, because when you want to set up a business or build a house, because the cement has been increased, you cannot able to get money to buy a lot of cement in order to build a house. So because the cement has been increased, the renting allowance too has been increased. So we the young ones coming, we are suffering. So the government have to reduce the price for us so that we can also buy cement to build a house.
I think it is not good for our economy, especially we the youth who wants to start something. Just last week I was trying to get a cement. I thought the price was around 50 cedis. And I got there and it was like 55. So it's not good. It's not good for the youth who want to engage themselves in construction and other stuff. And for those who do renting, like those who rent, it's also not helping because landlords are, they are doing their thing, increasing our rent because they said, cement prices going up.
Definitely, it's going to affect this in the system. Looking at the rent price now, and now I've learned that they said they've passed a law that now the landlord is supposed to take only 6 months. And here the case, the cement is increasing. Now, see, about 2 years ago, we bought one cement bag like 20-something cedis, and now it's about 50 cedis. And the people that are building too, they also put something on it. So if government wants the board that they pass to be in its correct way, then they should reduce the price.
Of course, it affects me because I'm building, and anytime I'm going to buy cement, the price is quite different. It increased. And we need a stable economy. We need a stable price. There must be price control in the economy. Yeah, we need a signification that we have even an economic minister.
For me, cement is born there. The best among penny for the ministers, any MPs, any man penny. The best almost say cement in the bono or moon because the cement in the bono a cosura and also my landlord for almost to me a two demo. Sisiano and easy say work a pet even Chime horse self contained crown is about 300 Ghana cedis for a month. It is Sisiano says cement in the book cosura. Almost about 2 months.
We have been joined on the phone by the maker of that statement in Parliament, Yusuf Suleimana. Thank you very much, Honourable Member of Parliament, for joining us. So, the chairman of the Finance Committee, Kweku Kwatin, says he disagrees with you on the call for the removal of taxes. What is your reaction to that?
Let me thank you for this opportunity. I think that the chairman did not read the statement well. I did some comparisons. For instance, I said that in April this year, the CEO of Dangote granted an interview in Nigeria when some consumers of cement complained of the differences in his pricing in the various countries where he operates. And just listen to what he said. He said that in Nigeria, a bag of cement in April cost $5.1. In Zambia, $5.95, and in Ghana, $7.2. Are we saying that these countries are not experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic? They are also experiencing the same pandemic that we are experiencing. So the cause of high rising cement in this country cannot be attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. It is self-inflicted, if you like, taxes. The imposition of taxes and levies has led to these high rises of prices in cement. And so what government needs to do is to simply take off these levies and also give a directive to Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority to give more berths to vessels that are carrying clinker. If we do that, and also look at reducing taxes on fuel, prices of cement will drastically come down. And so for me, the former deputy minister, who's now the chairman for the Finance Committee, was just being defensive and he was trying to defend government's position. The truth of the matter is that cost of cement is rising, and it is rising because of the insensitive nature of this government. You come to impose taxes, you come to impose levies. Can you imagine where you impose a levy that you describe as fumigation levy? Now the clinker come and you don't do any fumigation, yet you take the money. Again, because you have restricted vessels carrying clinker to only one berth, there's always congestion. And anytime there's congestion, the vessel, the cement producers pay between $35,000 and $45,000 daily. All these are transferred to the consumer. And so for me, when they say that it is the COVID-19 pandemic that is causing this rise, I beg to differ. And that is why I went to do a research and to do that comparisons, so that you realize that in neighboring countries, even though they are also hit by the same pandemic, prices of cement in those countries are lower than Ghana. No. So there are self-inflicted causes, internal causes, and not because of the COVID pandemic.
So there are levies and there are taxes. You mentioned, for instance, the fumigation levy, which you think is not justified. Which other levies would you want removed, or you want everything scrapped? But, yeah.
So my recommendation is that let's take the $0.50 per ton fumigation levy off. Then there's also the component of 1% health levy that was imposed just last year.
Okay.
If we also take it off, there will also be a reduction on the cost of production, and for that matter, consumer price will also go down. Again, the increase in taxes on fuel, for instance, the pollution tax that we impose, if we also take it off, it will also reduce the cost of the production, because all these producers use fuel. And once they use fuel and the cost of fuel is rising, it will be translated into the cost of production, and for that matter, consumer price. And so if you want to reduce cost of cement, these are the areas to look at, and it has nothing to do with COVID-19.
Very well. Thank you very much. That's Yusuf Suleimana. He's the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, joining us on calls for the reduction of cement. The Greater Accra Regional Health Directorate has announced plans to administer Moderna vaccines across all 29 districts in the region. Addressing a press conference Wednesday, the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Charity Sapon, disclosed that the exercise is targeted at persons who have not taken any jabs since the vaccination began across the country. In all, over 216,000 individuals are expected to be vaccinated from Friday, November 5, 2021.
And the good news for us this time is that starting from Friday, coming Friday, 5th November 2021 through to 10th November 2021, we are beginning the vaccinating people who have not been vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine. For us in Greater Accra region, because this is Greater Accra region, this is the first time that we are giving out the Moderna vaccine. Since we started in March, like I said, we have given out the AstraZeneca vaccine, we have given out the Sputnik vaccine, and we have also given out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And now we are also rolling out the Moderna vaccine. All the vaccines have been proven to be very effective and efficient in preventing COVID-19 illness, and even if you get it once you are vaccinated, it's improving that the illness is not as serious as those who have not been vaccinated.
The Regional Director of Health Services further disclosed that in addition to the stationed vaccination centers, mobile teams will also be deployed to move within the various districts to administer the Moderna vaccines.
And then we'll also be having static mobile teams. Every district will also be carrying out mobile team. And then we also want to appeal to the general public, organized groups like churches or even organizations. If you all student association, if you think your people are not vaccinated within the district where you are located, just liaise with the district health management team there. And once you liaise with them, they will organize with you and ensure that all your people are vaccinated. Either they will come around or set a place aside for you. So all organized groups, please take advantage. And where you don't know where your district is, you can contact any of my deputy directors public health, Dr. Akosua Sike. She is the lead for the vaccination this time. You can contact her and she will immediately liaise you to your district.
Meanwhile, Dr. Charity Sapon has debunked claims that some vaccines are more effective than others. Reacting to the issue, she emphasized that all the vaccines that have been rolled out since the onslaught of the pandemic have been tried and tested with equal efficacy. She therefore urged the general public to discard the fears and participate in the exercise, which starts November 5 to November 10.
Some of the districts did report about, sometimes people having a preference for a particular vaccine. But then we want to give the assurance that every vaccine that has been rolled out, deployed for COVID-19, has been, well researched into and have been proved to be very efficient and effective in combating or protecting us against COVID-19. So I want to appeal to everybody. As and when we get the vaccines and they are rolled out, they are all equally effective. There is not one that has a better advantage over the other. No, they are all equally effective. So as and when any of the vaccines become available, let us avail ourselves and make sure we take the jab. If you say you are waiting for a particular one and it's not in, you don't know what is going to happen in the next second, the next meet, or the next day. You may be exposed to COVID-19, and depending on your situation and underlying condition, you may not either survive it or you may have the very severe form. So please, we are telling you that every vaccine that is deployed has been researched both internationally and also by our regulatory bodies in Ghana, and they have all been proved to be effective, to be safe and efficient in combating COVID-19.
Now, Director of Legal Education at the Ghana School of Law, Kwesi Prempeh-Ek, has described the proposal for the removal of the CJ and other Supreme Court justices from the General Legal Council as counterproductive. The proposal forms part of a number of amendments being sponsored by two NDC MPs, Roxanne Dafiametbo and Francis Xavier Sosu, on the Legal Professions Act. Now, Mr. Dafiametbo argues the removal of the justices will enhance accountability and transparency on matters of legal education.
The judicial colouration that the General Legal Council has acquired over time is as a result of the heavy presence of senior judges on the council. So at a glance, you have the 5 senior-most Supreme Court judges serving on the General Legal Council. That is intimidating enough. So the council becomes, in essence, a playground for the judiciary. And because that is the heavy presence of judges, they try to bring to bear on the activities of the General Legal Council the judicial independent nature of their work. That's why the General Legal Council won't speak to any of the issues. So I think that if we decouple the influence of the judiciary from the operations of the General Legal Council, I think it will bring some sense of accountability. So we think that the influence of new persons, when the reforms come, will be able to bring some changes in this approach.
However, the Director of Legal Education at the Ghana School of Law disagrees with the proposal. Kwesi Prempeh-Ek thinks the proposal is counterproductive. Here's why.
I would not agree to that. That's their proposal. But the Chief Justice not only is in charge of the judiciary, but has played a vital role in legal education. So to just exclude him without, and then who replaces the Chief Justice? So if you are going to replace him, you should consider the fact that this General Legal Council has been in existence since 1960 or so when it was established. And they've run the legal education system for quite a long time. If you look at Section 13 of the Legal Professions Act, so if you are going to overtake, or if you are going to say that it should be excluded, then you should replace it with something else. I've not had a chance to look at the memorandum, but I know I just looked at something from the papers.
Let's go on to the phone lines now. Roxanne Dafiametbo is MP for South Dine and co-sponsor of that bill. Mr. Dafiametbo, are you aware the General Mr. Ek mentioned in an earlier interview that they were looking at some amendments to the Legal Professions Act. Are you aware of these amendments mentioned by Mr. Ek as part of their plan to open up legal education? Well, we seem to be having some challenges with the line. We'll be raising shortly on the phone the Member of Parliament for South Dine, Roxanne Dafiametbo, who is co-sponsoring a bill with the Medina MP, Francis Xavier Sosu, on the Legal Professions Act. They, among other things, want the Chief Justice and other senior justices of the Supreme Court removed from the General Legal Council. Let's go on to the phone lines again. Roxanne Dafiametbo joins us right now. Mr. Dafiametbo, so the head of legal education at the Ghana School of Law says that they are looking at some amendments to the Legal Professions Act by themselves, and they're hoping that this will end up opening up legal education. Are you aware of these amendments?
Thank you very much. I have an enormous respect for Director of Legal Education, Professor Prempeh-Ek. But in this matter, he is aware that they are reacting the matters as an afterthought. There's no indication, no such notice has come to the attention of Parliament. Indeed, if there are consultations to introduce the bill, as it were, to Parliament, that will be done by the Office of the Minister of Justice on behalf of the General Legal Council. So until they do that, that such a thing may not come to my attention of Parliament. But be it as it may, it does not prevent me, as the elected representative of the good people of Southern, from initiating a private member's bill to, as it were, bring about the same reforms that they are now contemplating. So the boat has long sailed. The boat has long set sail. They are late. The other issue is that he added that my reform or our reform in respect of the recomposition of the General Legal Council as a council by taking out the heavy representation of the judiciary on the council will be counterproductive.
Exactly.
And I'm struggling to appreciate the use of that phrase. How did they establish or did they determine that such a recommendation or a move would not yield any fruitful move for the reforms that we take? Indeed, the present composition of the General Legal Council, the evidence clearly suggests rather that the present composition of the General Legal Council is rather killing legal education instead of promoting it. The core function of the General Legal Council is to promote legal education. Within the past 6 or 7 years, what the General Legal Council has done to the hopes of thousands of graduates from the various law faculties in this country regarding the pursuit of professional law in this country is one of dashing of hopes other than promoting things.
But Mr. Daviametro, a member of the General Legal Council and also a senior member, a lawyer at that, lawyer Sam Okujeto, who is also with the Council of State, agrees with him. And in fact, he has some stronger words for you. He says your bill, your actions, is just a joke.
You see, we are putting some things together to actually respond to Senior Sam Okujeto in this matter. And so I will not put his comments in the same bracket as those comments passed by Director of Legal Education, Prempeh Ek. I won't do that. Because we have to respond to the very vitriolic outburst of lawyer Sam Okujeto. Clearly, he lacks understanding of the workings of Parliament. Because for him to say 2 members of Parliament, properly so called, taking advantage of the provisions in law, in the Constitution and in statute, to initiate private members, to him amounts to a joke, then of course is displayed the person who is joking in this matter. Of course it's him and not the 2 of us. If he thinks this is a matter of joke, then it should not be perturbed. It shouldn't be perturbed at all because we are joking in Parliament. So what we are doing is a joke. So it shouldn't bother him. But clearly he's bothered. It is the statute of Parliament that has empowered people like him to be represented on the council of the General Legal Council. It is Parliament's statute. It is an enactment. We have made it possible. And we are taking that power away. He should mark it. He will no longer be represented on the General Legal Council. He will no longer serve because we won't give him that privilege. So it is the fear of taking that power away from them. That's what scares him.
But that sounds very personal. He is just speaking to the bill.
No, it is not personal. Did you hear him? Did you hear him say that my understanding of law is is suspicious. Did you hear him say that? And that in itself amounts to a misconduct at the bar for a lawyer to call a fellow lawyer that he doesn't understand law. That in itself, the person who taught me ethics and advocacy in the law school is calling another lawyer that he doesn't understand law. If you do that to him, he is serving on the General Legal Council. He has been serving on the disciplinary committee, disciplining lawyers. You ask lawyers when a lawyer calls another lawyer that he doesn't understand law, whether it doesn't amount to professional misconduct. They should ask it. But I won't go there. And it is a tactic to intimidate myself and so they think that we are young boys, we are small boys. That's the kind of comments they are passing. But we are in Parliament. We will do what we have to do. We will do what we know best in Parliament.
Why do you think that the senior lawyer would want to intimidate you?
My brother, if he's not on a course to intimidate, what have we done wrong? In any case, if you agree with the General Legal Council that they are contemplating bringing reform, and we have already introduced reform, it is up to you to add your voice and say that you agree with what we are doing, but you think that it can be expanded, or there are some aspects of the proposals we are putting forward should not be considered on ABCD grounds. Then we are being dispassionate with the discussion. But when you make the discussion personal and attack myself and Tutu and threaten that you will bring us before the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council, I will wish him well. He can go ahead and invite us, and we will come and make a representation and defend ourselves.
Very
in
well.
any case, hold on. In any case, we are in Parliament. We are not acting as lawyers. We are acting as the elected representative of the people of South and Medina, respectively. So, on the grounds that he's threatening us with disciplinary action, in itself is unfounded. It has no basis in law. I am restraining myself in responding to him in strong terms because he's my former lecturer. I give him that regard. I give him that respect.
Well, Honorable, we ran out of time on this, but I want to thank you for your time here on Joy News Prime. That's the Member of Parliament for South Roxanne Dafiamepo, responding to the reactions that have come through following the filing of that amendment to the Legal Professions Act together with Francis Xavier Sosu. And it's not business as usual for traders squatting on open drains in the Agbebloshi market as health officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly have forced them to desilt the choked drains. The officials, led by the Director of Public Health of the Metro, Florence Kuchi, says the operation forms part of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiated by the Greater Accra Regional Minister.
So today, Clean Ghana is coming to do Clean Your Frontage. We have seen that these women are not supposed to sit here to sell. And then they've displaced for sale, and they've even made a permanent pallet on the drain. Because of that, the drain is not flowing. So today we are coming here with us and them. We are all going to ensure that they remove their pallets, we clean the drain, and we tell them not to display for sale any items on top of the drain. So anybody that will come after today's work and come and meet you, display for sale your items from the drain, we are going to confiscate the items and we'll ensure that we take you to court. Those who decide not to move their staff, we will collect the staff and still arrest them too.
Yapana chapa one chira tema o meba be yigwata no na o ma sesa o mu yigwata na o mu de agu ho ya nkasa ye papa na o ma yi o mu yi na o mu de agu ho nta ma obi a beto ade ma ye wa agogweshi nti yapana chapa madam
tie na me tro, this is not politics. Ye can help tie ukasa won to aba enya politics assembly ye ka apomode ho asem. We are talking health. Baby a wo ton ade no nipa na wo ankasa baby a wote no wondwe wa apomode ho wondwe wa apomode ho. It says entini yesi wall tie entini yesi wall say you should not sell in front of this wall. And you can say we tongue idea or wall yechi. I was saying in Amu inside. All I need a guasana, young Toma, Omuya Monsisa, and only a salmon. Madam, Muya Monsisa, now bother into a month for Mumba idea my Wagueshi. Then one say to me, Papa, no, my best sister. what to say, bra. What to say, Emra or say, baby, I will hear Jumano. I was said yes, I'll be cleaning her. Brana Abano, Yabana to Hana Tonga, the no one sees you when you ma. Emrama who can say your show, Edo Court, Unim, sir. Yet she would do court, none to say your punish show, your person will get the right.
No more baby. Tia buy ye nya baby ye go. Enti nanka hana ne ye go. Buy ombe ye we ni ntina ma ye nya baby ye be ye go. Tina ma omudi we ni be gu ho no no. Ma ye gu so sebe ya. Ensuo no betima afase na James no so ndem mo ya kama pa. Mudi ani mo ma hane ya kama de mo ya ne de problem bi ani.
Got away in there. Everybody say 1 year, 2 years now. After lockdown, no more you go to Asa. So government change, everything is changed. So because of the bank, what is the short it? It's gonna move right there. So when you problem, what I say? So that be animal first 2014 animal. First it might be normally the money you got up. I'm to go to my sister Chromobia. I said everything is changed. The Biasa. So in French, me so me crab and to me say to ade.
Now, turn out the fun at your wedding the secret billionaire style. There's a story of the all-girls group that has gained social media attention for their displays at weddings and other parties. The group, made up of over 100 women, mainly here in Accra, attend weddings at a fee and, in their own words, add color to your event. Joining us is Justice Bedu. Went to meet them.
If you know, you know. Your new level is our throwback, so relax.
This video has racked up close to 200,000 views on Facebook alone. It's just one of many videos of the secret Billions family putting on a show at a wedding. The all-female family claim they are the live wire for every party. They promise they have what it takes to bring every boring party to life.
Your money, yes, Papa, wedding, your program will be different from the rest, from all the wedding, because how we will do, no, how we have been doing our thing. Just invite us.
Oh, yes, your bridal fan, any your bridal. Papa.
I have come to one of the shops where they are making dresses for their next event, happening in Dansuman. From small beginnings between 4 ladies in Ashaiman, secret Billions have grown.
Most of our videos on our social media pages, this Aure Islamic wedding starts. But this one, she's a Christian, so we are turning up in grand style, like, because it's actually one of our first Christian weddings in a long time.
Let me give you butterfly. Say I did it,
When it's wedding, sometimes they have been giving us the dress to wear. They'll be telling us, oh, it's an all-white party, so you guys should put on white. We will put on the white for them. Sometimes we will send you our pictures. The kind of dressing you want us to bring it to your program, we will just bring that dressing.
I repeat, the only thing better than money is don't envy us. We are the
What makes this group interesting to watch is the unique jargons and chants they have developed among themselves. Aside being fun-loving, you do not need any qualification to join this group. Some of the ladies are unemployed. Others too run their own small businesses.
Most of the people in my area now know me to be Secret Billions. Like, they've forgotten my name. They call me like Secret Billions and all that. So, like, people, they like me just because I'm a Secret Billions. I go out with a uniform. Like, I'm all out. So,
we were just joking. We never knew that it would come to a time even radio or TV station will come to interview us. Now we have Ashama branch. Ashama branch, we have about 130 members. And we have East Legon branch. East Legon branch, they are 16 numbers. Koforidua branch. Kumasi branch, they are
40. The name they have chosen for this group, they say, is an inspiration for them to make money. The secret billions take a few hundreds of cedis to turn up at a wedding. They even have a song made in their name.
Secret billions, ooh, Rambo style. Secret billions.
Their end game is to travel the world performing at parties. So the next time you think about bringing your party alive, you may want to think about Ashaiman's Secret Billions family. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Accra.
And let us know if you would invite them to your events. Go onto our social media platforms. We have this story there, and share your comments with us. This is Joy News Prime with me, Ernest Mino. We're taking a break. When we return, Charles Aito will bring us more business. We have sports for you. Please stay.
And in business, the managing director of Republic Bank, Farid Anta, says he wants the 2022 budget to come with realistic macroeconomic projections and credible deficit financing program. The Finance Minister, Kenu Ferretta, is set to present the budget to Parliament on November 17. Mr. Anta tells Joy Business that this will help revive investor confidence in the economy.
Really, it needs to be a disciplined approach. We need to be realistic in the projections. The thing with the projections, when you project the revenue conservatively or maybe a little too aggressive, you commit expenses against that which you cannot, it's very difficult to roll back. And now with interest expense, such a large percentage of revenue, it's a very delicate balancing act. So I'd really like to see some very realistic projections in terms of revenue. I would like to see how there is a need to widen the tax net, not necessarily deepen it to the ones that you currently have, because we have a small pool and we continue to pay more and more. But there's a large pool that is not yet captured. So with the Ghana card, the identification of everyone, pulling them into the revenue service oversight would really, so we have to find the ways to do it correctly. But again, even with that market, you can't impose a huge tax burden on them just off the bat. You know, everyone has to come into the system at a gradual pace. So it will be interesting how that will be managed, how the government is going to finance the deficit, what it will say about the rest of this year, and then how it will happen next year. So I don't have the answers. I think it's a very challenging job.
As part of marketing strategy, Jumia Ghana will run a Black Friday promo in the whole of November. Addressing the media, the chief commercial officer for Jumia stated that his outfit sympathizes with its customers considering the impact of COVID-19 on livelihoods. He further stated that the move is to celebrate customers and deepen the bond. We have more in this report.
Friday is considered as the biggest shopping holiday of the year and always falls on the fourth Friday in November. Jumia is one of the companies that has engaged its customers on Black Friday sales over the years. This year, Chief Commercial Officer for Jumia Ghana, Kolawole Osinowo, revealed that his outfits will be running Black Friday promos throughout November.
The reason why we are doing this is very simple. We want to always win the love of our customers, and we know that things have been a bit tough over the last couple of months, and people have been saving up for this, and we respect that and we appreciate that, and that's why we've negotiated amazing discounts, amazing deals from our partners, and that's what we're offering to customers during this promotional period. First of all, you get very good discounts from our key partners like Samsung. The second thing is that you have opportunity of participating in flash sales. The discount starts from as low as 40% all the way to 80% on some items. For flash sales, you can get up to 90% on some items.
Speaking on the size of the launch of Jumia Black Friday, Mr. Osinowo reiterated that COVID-19 led to a boost in his outfit's operations as more companies signed up to use its platform to transact business.
Despite the challenges with COVID, what we've seen is that a lot of brands are beginning to see Jumia as the digital channel, sales channel for them. In the last couple of months, we've seen a lot of brands use Jumia as their online sales platform. And we're still bringing in more brands as well, because not everybody wants to go out to shop because of the whole COVID restrictions and the whole challenge. And that's why we continue to say to all the other brands that are not using e-commerce today, you are late.
Wait for business, but we'll leave you with a summary of international business news. Just stay with us.
Thanks again for joining me for Sporty on Joy News Prime. I'm Hans Mensando. Azakes ladies head coach Yusuf Basigi says his team is not under pressure to win the maiden edition of the CAF Women's Champions League. He says though their ultimate target is to be champions, it is not considered a must.
The champions of the Ghana Women's Premier League are fine-tuning preparations in Egypt ahead of the maiden edition of the CAF Women's Champions League following their triumph in the Wafu Zone B tournament back in August this year. Ahead of the opening game, head coach Yusuf Basigi says his team is not under pressure to win the trophy.
You can see that we're taking it easy. So that is the psyche of players. You know, we didn't do any intensive work. We made them to do loosening up with a fun game, which is the football, which they all enjoyed very well. So I think that there is no pressure on us at all. That is why we didn't put the pressure on us by saying that we are coming to win the ultimate by all means. No, it is our target. The support that they've been giving us with the necessary and the needed prayers was needed, because we are here in the name of Ghana. So here is Hazakes ladies of Ghana. So Ghanaians should rally behind us.
Hazakes ladies find themselves in Group A of the CAF Women's Champions League alongside Wadi Degla, Malabo King FC and AS Monday. They play Monday in the opening game of the tournament on Friday, November 5.
Our new president of the Ghana Basketball Association, Ato Vanes, has vowed to take the sport to a higher height. He spoke exclusively to Joy Sports after the elective congress.
And it's great because it's not all about me or my the elected executives. It's about all stakeholders, including you, including everybody who has interest and who can develop basketball. So it's an all-inclusive development, and the feeling is great. Everybody is on board.
The GBBA for a decade has been unable to organize Congress, so after its successful organization over the weekend, Van Es believes the bigger picture for basketball in the country is the association's ability to finally reorganize themselves.
In basketball, we see it this way, that basketball has won. We are not too much even going to go into the details of who won, how many votes did you get. No, we don't work like that. So we work in this way that we've been able to have a successful Congress. So we all sit down And then we have plans. All the plans are scattered. Strategic plan here. These people have plans. This person has plans. This constituents. So we're going to consolidate all these plans. So two things: we consolidate all these plans. So have one strategic plan for the next 5 years, and consolidate all the regional and scattered constitutions to also have one constitution. And that will serve as a guideline for all of us to move. Now, mind you, I always refer to you. I always point to you that we are all in it together. So we all sit down and get this room up. And this is going to be done within the next 2 months, because next we will start our year one from 2022. That's how we're planning. So this 22 months is going to be very hot for all of us.
Now let's turn our attention to the UEFA Champions League and get updates of some of the results that have been recorded. And as you can see, Manchester City at halftime being held at home by Club Brugge. Also halftime between RB Leipzig and Paris Saint-Germain. PSG lead by 2-1. Group B action as AC Milan tied 1-1 against Porto at full-time. Liverpool at halftime lead Atletico Madrid by 2-0. In Group C, Borussia Dortmund lead Ajax by 1-0 at halftime, and halftime between Sporting Lisbon and Besiktas. The Portuguese side leading the Turkish side by 3-0. Real Madrid earlier beating Shakhtar Donetsk by 2-1 in halftime between FC Sheriff and Inter Milan is goalless between the two teams. And of course, we'll bring you all the conversations around the UEFA Champions League later at 10:30 p.m. on FanZone. You can read more sports at myjoyonline.com/sport. I'm Hans Mensando. Many thanks for your time.
Many thanks for your company. You can find more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Mino.